Now, there's a lot of major wrestling news and rumors to share with you guys coming out of tonight's episode of SmackDown, which featured the massive return of The Rock, which we'll talk about in a bit. And we'll start off with some rather shocking news regarding former SmackDown Women's Champion Carmella's status with WWE. Now, for those of you who haven't heard the news, it was revealed earlier today through a number of sources, including Fightful and PW Nexus, that Carmella's contract with WWE had officially expired, with Triple H and WWE choosing not to renew Carmella's contract, which basically means that Carmella was released from WWE once her contract expired, which we presume was today or yesterday. We had reached out to one of our sources on more information and clarification on the WWE letting Carmella's contract expire and the reasons behind her not being re-signed or at least offered a new deal, and we have the answers you're probably looking for. We have been told that had it not been for Carmella's contract expiring when it did today or yesterday, Carmella would have been included in the latest batch of mass WWE releases, which included the likes of Sonya Deville, the authors of Pain, and Giovanni Vinci, due to the fact that there were no plans creatively for Carmella moving forward because of her foot injury. But Triple H decided that because of the fact he has always had a good working relationship with Carmella, the company chose to have her current contract simply expire and not renew the deal, instead of releasing her beforehand like the rest of the mass releases. Carmella was well liked behind the scenes by her co-workers as well as upper management, so the WWE decided not to have Carmella leave with a bad taste in her mouth by getting released, especially when her contract was so close to expiring, considering as though those mass releases were just a couple of weeks ago. Carmella is officially a free agent now, but for any fans expecting Carmella to potentially make the move to another wrestling company like AEW or TNA, one source noted that isn't very likely, and it comes back to Carmella's foot injury. Carmella is not medically cleared to wrestle at this stage, and that won't be changing for the foreseeable future. And we have been told that it's very unlikely that Carmella wrestles again. Now, we wish Carmella the best in whatever she chooses to do following her wrestling career in WWE. And even if Carmella isn't able to wrestle again, she reached the very pinnacle of the business by becoming a women's champion in WWE, which few superstars can say they did. So we wish Carmella well in the next chapter of her life away from the squared circle. Now, let us know your thoughts on Carmella's release from WWE. Are you guys surprised to find out that Triple H and WWE have decided not to renew her contract and let her walk away from the company? Or do you understand the reasoning behind Carmella's release? That there weren't any plans in creative for her because of the fact that her in-ring career has been halted due to an unfortunate injury, and that there weren't any non-wrestling roles planned for Carmella in WWE moving forward? Do you feel like the company should have found something for Carmella to do on television, even if she wasn't going to be cleared to return to the ring anytime soon? As well, do you feel Carmella should stick around in wrestling outside of WWE and try to get signed by another big company like AEW or TNA to be featured in some kind of a non-wrestling role, right? Whether as a manager or something of that nature? Let us know. Now, there had been a report a couple of days ago suggesting that some women's division stars in WWE were frustrated with the way Triple H and the company have been booking their division leading up to WrestleMania 41, with one source, Fightful Select, reporting the other day that they had spoken with some women in the WWE who revealed that the lack of focus on WWE's part on developing contenders within the division, the tag team division as a whole, and screen time for stars outside of the top storylines was basically causing a lot of frustration, especially when compared to NXT's women's division, which is perceived by some within WWE to be booked way better compared to the main roster. The update on this story we have been provided with is that some of these women's division stars are frustrated with many of the redundant storylines in the upper and mid-card title scenes. And while these talent aren't upset that the prominent WWE women's division stars are getting a lot of screen time, the issue is that the company should be giving more women on the main roster the opportunity to get TV time. The other new detail regarding this story we have been told is that Sonya Deville's sudden release the other week was reportedly a worrying concern for many women's division stars who aren't being used much on TV because of the fact that Sonya was reportedly told as little as 4 days before her sudden release that the company were going to keep her around. Not to mention other underutilized WWE women like Elektra Lopez, Isla Dawn, and Blair Davenport were also released, causing even more worry among talent backstage. So by the sounds of it, guys, many women's division stars within WWE are not at all happy with the way Triple H has been booking their division on the main roster the past couple of months. And it probably all started with Charlotte Flair's Royal Rumble win, which once again highlighted the WWE's insane levels of favoritism. Not to mention the bunch of women's division stars who were unceremoniously released from the company earlier this month. Clearly, many within WWE feel Shawn Michaels is doing a much better job when it comes to booking the women's division in NXT, and we have to agree with these frustrated stars. The NXT women's division is arguably better than the main rosters these days, and HBK deserves a lot of credit for truly revamping the division, and hopefully Triple H gets things back on track when it comes to Raw and SmackDown's women's divisions after this frustration among talent has been aired to the public. Well guys, The Rock made his return to WWE tonight on SmackDown, and like it was predicted, it started out with the final boss announcing that New Orleans would be hosting WrestleMania 42, which got The Rock's segment off to a great start as the fans in attendance at SmackDown in New Orleans were ecstatic to hear the news officially confirmed, and the hype for the second part of The Rock's segment was then at an all-time high, as The Rock called out the Undisputed Champion Cody Rhodes to the ring to share a moment together, and while some fans expected The Rock to have perhaps called out Cody Rhodes for an Undisputed Title match, whether at WrestleMania this year or next year, to say that Triple H and the WWE swerved fans with what we were about to witness would be a massive understatement. The Rock's return segment fell off a cliff once Cody Rhodes entered the equation, as all the friendship and buddy-buddy attitude between Cody and The Rock was a bit bizarre to start things off, given the tense history the two have with their on-screen storyline, and it was as if The Rock fluctuates between his real-life persona and his final boss persona, making things just weird, man. After giving Cody Rhodes props as being a great champion to an awkward extent, The Rock basically says he wants Cody Rhodes' soul. Yeah, The Rock demands Cody to think about becoming his champion, with Cody hilariously being told, not asked, to announce his final decision at Elimination Chamber in Toronto on March 1st. And my goodness, guys, we're not gonna lie, this was one of the most awful and convoluted segments we've ever seen in WWE. Obviously, we're still heading in the direction of a future match between Cody Rhodes and The Rock, but this overly long and convoluted segment tonight didn't help add any buzz to their future match. It just made everything very weird. Perhaps the WWE are trying to recreate the infamous Stone Cold Steve Austin selling out to Vince McMahon angle with Cody and The Rock, but we can't say that things have gotten off to a great start with this bizarre storyline twist. But we want to hear your guys' opinions on The Rock's return segment on SmackDown tonight. Are we just missing the brilliance of WWE's creative, and that you felt this was an amazing and intriguing segment between Rock and Rhodes? Or do you agree with us that this was just a convoluted mess of a segment that didn't really make any sense? Well guys, that's it for today's major wrestling news. Make sure you leave a like and comment, and also make sure you subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on so you'll never miss out on an episode. Finally, if you haven't already, give us a follow on Twitter at TSE Wrestling, and we will see you guys in the next video.